Hi, so in this tutorial I'm going to have a quick look at perspective corner pin as a method of tracking. Okay, and I've got a clip here called table 01, and there we go. No, it's just called table, right? Okay, and you can see it's a shot of a table with the leaflet on top. So we've got a moving camera, and I want to track this leaflet so I can replace it, and I'm going to replace it with this image here. Okay, you'll see the image is obviously a little bit longer, not as wide as that leaflet. So obviously there are issues there, but it's just a demonstration in this case. So what I'm going to do is take this and put it into a new comp. So there we go, we've got that shot. And what we'll do as well is we'll stick the Blade Runner image in now. So we'll stick the image we want on top. Just makes it a little bit simpler. Okay, so apart from that, we're going to select this and we're going to go animation, track motion. Okay, and there we go, jump to a layer view, and we've got our one track point. So if you've done any kind of 2D tracking before, you should be familiar with this. A perspective corner pin is also a 2D track. However, it uses, instead of 1 point, it uses 4, and it will then apply that to a new image, and it will distort that image to meet those 4 points. So in other words, what we're going to do is, if we go into our tracking properties here, it's set to track type is transform. So we're just going to change that to perspective corner pin, and you'll see it's given us 4 points instead. Okay, and what it will do is, like I said, so we can track the corners of this leaflet here, and it will then, like I said, distort the corners of this new leaflet that I want to put on, so it's always sitting on that position. So it kind of gives you that sense of being actually there in 3D space. This works really well as a method of tracking for replacing things like TV screens, mobile phone screens, posters on walls, or so on. Okay, perspective corner pin is a good way to do it because it's a 2D track, so it's actually quite fast, so it saves you a lot of time as well. But let's start by putting our points up. Now notice it's point 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and that's really important because I have tracked before where the points have been sort of somewhere else, so maybe 2 has been this corner, 1 has been that one. It still looks like a square and so on, but it will actually warp the image. So it's very important that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, as you're seeing here. Anything else in the image will be folded over in a way. So sorry, just changed my tool there by mistake. So what we'll do is go to the very first frame, and we're going to move and just quickly set our points up onto the corner here. One other thing I would point out here, okay, is that I've already tried this, and all of these do make good tracking points because the corners of the leaflets are of the leaflet is very dark, and the table is very light. So we've got a very clear tracking point. It will still slightly lose the track at some point. At least I found that with this exercise, but that's fine because it is actually still fixable. So it's not that it's can't be repaired. But let's just try that to start with. Now, actually, one thing we can do, knowing that I've tried this before and that it will slightly lose the point, is I'm going to make my tracking points. The pattern match, which is the inside box here on my tracker, a little bit bigger. So by having a bigger area that it's tracking, it'll usually produce a slightly better track as well overall, like less likely to slip, should we say. The issue with that, however, is the bigger you make these points, the more area the computer's having to check every time, and so it does slow down the tracking. So there's always a compromise, isn't there, between speed and sort of trying to get the track right. So just bear that in mind. Let's go back to fit. So we're on the first frame, and we'll just analyze forward. Okay, and you'll find generally it'll hold well. What I found in my experience is this point here, track point 3, slips, and you can see it's done that, and it's revealing some of the leaflet. Looks like track point 2 may have also slightly slipped. So what can we do about that? Well, what we generally want to do is obviously zoom in a bit so we can actually see the point, and here it looks fine, and so we want to just move forward. So if you're on a PC, you can press Control and right arrow. If you're on a Mac, press Command and right arrow, and we can move forward 1 frame at a time. And what we're looking for is the point at which that slipped. So right now it's fine, and here somewhere, obviously, there we go. It looks like it's starting to, as you can see, reveal that now. So it's slipping along. Yep. So what we're going to do is going to go back a bit to where it was in the right place. Great there. So we'll go to the next frame and we'll just fix it ourselves manually. Oops, be careful not to move one of the points instead. There we go. And we'll just kind of put it back to where it should be. And what I would do is go to the next frame, and do the same thing again, and just do that for a few frames. Go to the next frame and do that again. Yeah, and you can see it has slipped quite a bit. So if we go here, notice that the track point is quite far off. It should be up here. But if you can do that for a few frames, when you're done, you can then press Analyze Forward from this point, and hopefully that should work well. But I won't bother with that right now, because that's, you know, as long as you understand that principle, you're welcome to try that yourself. I just want to demonstrate the overall process of a perspective corner pin. So because I had already put the Blade Runner image in, it automatically applied that as a target, assumed that's going to be the replacement, and it is. If not, press Edit Target and select what you want to appear over the leaflet. But yeah, we're just going to click Apply. And what should happen is, you can see, is it's put the leaflet on there. So what I'm going to do is just going to move up a little bit. Let's close these up a bit so we don't have to have so much on there. There we go. And like I said, obviously it loses the track here a little bit, and you'll see that there because I haven't fixed that yet. Let's just try from the beginning, and you see as we move around, it's working quite well. Yeah, it's sort of, obviously it's not able to play it in real time right now, but we can see it's following that nicely. So let's just go back a bit. There we go. And if we play that, there you go. So that's what it looks like in real time. Now, there are a few things I would do to improve that. The image itself is highly saturated. So look how strong those oranges and the blues and the blacks are compared to everything else. So one of the things I would look for is, let's see if we've got any kind of saturation. So we've got a hue and saturation. So let's put that on the Blade Runner image. And let's just drop that saturation down slightly. Okay, I don't know if we need to do the lightness. I think we'll just do the saturation for now. Okay, the other thing I would look to do as well, right now I'll just use a standard blur, but there are obviously lens blurs and things like that as well. But let's have a look. Let's just put on a little Gaussian blur for now. Let's drop that on as well. And let's just turn that up very slightly, and that's because, again, the poster is very sharp, but the camera itself wouldn't be picking up that much detail, the video camera, that is. Okay, and so what we're trying to do is actually make it appear as though it's really there, rather than just an image that's been stuck on top of a video clip. Okay, so yeah, it's not, tracking alone won't be enough. You can see you have to kind of do a bit more work to make it appear as though it's actually in that scene. But if we kind of go back and, like I said, just turn off some of these effects. So we turn off the hue and saturation and the Gaussian blur. You can see just it's too sharp, too contrasty to kind of appear like it's in the scene. Okay, but that's a quick explanation of perspective corner pin, and I give it a try, and I hope you enjoy using it. Thank you.